record and get started here because it is 8 o'clock and we all are super busy, and I won't keep you longer than necessary, hopefully. But for those of you who know me, I do like to talk, but I promise I'm following a script, so I'm going to keep it to the bare minimum, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so hey guys, welcome to the call. As you saw, Jen and Michael are on their way to Florida, so she asked me to host the call tonight, which I'm actually super excited about and wasn't really nervous. This is my third time hosting in 2 years, and I've been more nervous, believe it or not, but just like with everything, you practice, you get better and more comfortable with things. So I was actually really excited she asked me to host the call because I thought, what a great time for me to share my experiences with my second year of coaching. And I thought it would be really valuable for other coaches to know some things. So it came really at a perfect time. And I'm calling this call the Get Real call. And for those of you who saw the National Wake Up Call, if you listened to the National Wake Up Call on December 21st with Allie Upham, UPHAM, I think she had called it Getting Real. And I listened to it again today because that's what I wanted to base this call off of, is me getting real with a lot of things with you all. And so I'm kind of stealing her thunder on the Getting Real. And if you all have not listened to that wake up call, I strongly urge you to go to the podcast or go to the replay and listen to it. December 21st, Allie, A-L-L-I, Upham. It was amazing. So this is tonight, Getting Real. And I am going to go to start my presentation now. Okay. Let me move this. Perfect. So, as I was saying, I used a new, not app, but instead of using PicMonkey, I used Canva at the last minute tonight. And so I'm hoping that it all looks okay and that kind of stuff. And I have no idea why I did such a foolish thing. But anyway, so can everybody see the screen? Can you give thumbs up if you can see all that? Thumbs up. You can see it? Yes? Okay, awesome. Okay, so tonight, like I said, I'm going to call this my Getting Real call. And I was hoping Robin Lodal would be on the call tonight because it's kind of, this call is actually kind of inspired from her. And I say that because when I was at winter retreat in Gatlinburg, I was talking with Robin, and the first thing, we said, hi, how are you? And everything like that. And she said to me, I said, we got on the subject of how her business was doing. And I said to her, I really struggled. I'm really struggling, and I'm really looking forward to this retreat and filling my cup up with a lot of things that I need. And she was like, what do you mean you're struggling? And I said, I've had a very difficult year, business-wise and personal-wise. And she said, really? I would have never have thought that. She said, I look at you, and you're this rock star coach, and you're hitting Success Club 10 every month, you're premier coach, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I was listening to her thinking, wow, okay. And then I thought, is that really what I was second guessing myself, thinking, is that really what people think? And then I thought, oh no, honey, let me tell you, I struggle just like everybody else with everything, with challenge groups, with signing coaches, with just everything. I certainly have had my share of struggles this year. And so I thought I needed to share that with everybody and share what the second year for coaching has been like for me. So that was thanks to Robin in regard to this call. So I'm going to talk about my ups and downs, my do's and don'ts, my struggles and successes in my second year as a coach. I started December 2013 and went to December 2014, finishing as a premier elite coach, premier coach for 2014. And so I headed into 2015 with aspirations and a goal of becoming elite. And that did not happen, nor did the fact that I'm at the same rank as two-star as I was a year ago. And I did not make premier for 2015. With that being said, some of you may think, oh, poor her, or oh, big whoopity-doo. But, you know, for me, that was my personal goal. And when we all have goals and we don't get them, we don't hit them, it doesn't happen, we know how that can bring you down. And so I really struggled with the fact that the first year that I came out as a coach, it's just like when you have challengers that join your challenge group and they're all in it for the first week and the second week, and they're pumped and they're losing weight and they're plugged in. And then what happens is they start falling off. And I use that as a reference because that was what it was kind of like for me my first year of coaching. Everybody was on board, and I had coaches, you know, that were hitting goals and wanting this and so forth. And then when everything seemed easy, and I don't mean easy, but my warm market was great and that sort of thing. Well, then year two came, January of this year, 2015, and it kind of went, it went, not, I don't want to say downhill, but it was a struggle. And just, it's hard when you don't come from any experience with a multi-level marketing company. They always say, you know, it's a roller coaster. You're going to have your ups and downs. Yet, boy, when the downs are down, they're really down. And for me, I tend to take on the downs more personally than maybe anyone else. I just know for me personally, it can get me into bad predicaments and a lot of bad mojo. So as I share the struggles and successes, I just want to touch base on everyone. I talked about, you know, I didn't hit my goal for 2015. And on the other part of that, you can either say, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? It's in the past. This year is over. We're starting 2016 very soon. Everyone starts from a clean slate. It's time to just suck it up. It is what it is and move on. Or you can be like, woe is me. Are people going to look at me differently? am I still, your confidence is down and you're wondering, are you that leader? Are you that person that you were when you had the, I guess, rank? And so I struggled with that. And the opposite success of that for me was being able to walk on stage this summer at Summit. And in June of 2013, when I attended my first Summit, I envisioned myself on Summit stage the following year. That was a non-negotiable for me. I wanted to hit SC10 All-Star, and I wanted to be on stage as a premier coach. And that happened. But the downside is now, where do you go from here? Now that you've had that and you're not continually going up, you've come down. I've realized that that's going to happen. That is part of this, part of what we do. It's not ever going to be a straight uphill climb. And the more I wrap my head around that, and the more I can share with all of you that it's so important to understand that, the better equipped you're going to be mentally when those struggles are like this, instead of continuing up. So I hope that made sense. A struggle was I stayed at my same rank advance. I did not rank advances, I guess what I should say, in 2015. I'm ending this year 2-star, the same as I ended last year. And some people can look at that and think, what were you doing for a whole year? How do you not? And I guess me personally took that. That is how I looked at myself. How do you show people that really you're trying to be this leader, and yet you've not rank advanced in a whole year? And with that, I will say that getting your head out of the whole rank advancement thing works for some people. I'm learning now to look at other successes. For instance, my volume has grown tremendously since last year, and that's what's important to me now, instead of, quote, so much the rank advancement to 3-star or 4-star, that kind of thing. The success was that I had earned the free Success Club trip in 2015 in April that I was able to take my husband. So I didn't rank advance, but I was qualified for the trip to take my husband, which was super important for me. Struggle. If those of you who have been following me on Facebook or YouTube, I recently came out of the closet about my weight gain that I have had happen in the last 15, 16 months. And boy, that could be a whole team call about that. And that was part of my issue this summer. I was not honest with myself about a lot of things, and I let myself go while I was concentrating so much on helping others. And I kind of buried my head, I guess is how I put it, with my own body. I worked out, I still did all that. I'm a runner, still ran, but I really left the bandwagon on the whole nutrition. And sometimes I would get on board with my groups and I'd lose, 8 to 10 pounds, and then I'd gain it all back. And I found that this struggle in this coming clean with my own body image, with my own stigma of what a Beachbody coach is supposed to look like, because I was deathly afraid that people that looked at me and thought, okay, when I met you 2 years ago when you were a coach, you didn't look like that. And so I needed to change my mindset about that and come clean and face the hard facts about it. And it's been really inspiring and empowering because I've being honest and open, and the video journal that I'm doing has really helped a lot of other women. And I think it's allows me to be more relatable as far as that scale going up and down. The success is that I've had several women lose close to 50 pounds that I've been working with, is the reason why I became a coach in the first place. And of course, helping a lot of other women with 5-10 pounds, that sort of thing. So the struggle is myself, and the success was all the other women that I've been able to help. Struggle was I lost several business builders on my team. And that is going to happen. Again, I am learning that you need to let go of a lot of, and how I can explain it, Michael Greenberg explains it perfectly well by saying, you put the feed out for the cow. You do not drag the cow to the feed. You put the feed out and let the cows feed. My personality is the caretaker, the mama bear, and I'm working on that. And I tend to just, because I love what we do, I love what this business can provide for you, that I want everybody to get on board with it. And I'm like, can't you see what this can do for you? And so I sometimes mix what my goal is maybe with their goal. And the gist of it is that you are going to have coaches go in and out of rank. You're going to have coaches drop because it's just not for them anymore. And how you deal with that is you realize that this is the name of the game again, and you need to go find the new coach that wants to be on board with their journey and have the same goals in alignment. The success of that is that I did hit my non-negotiable of SC10 Legend, which is 24 months of SC10. Was that easy? Heck no. Heck to the no. It was not easy. And I say that because when Robin said to me, you're hitting Success Club all the time, there were many months where I cried. There were many months that I prayed. There were many months that I really had to dig deep down and not give up, which is why I'm wearing this shirt, by the way. So I really, the thing that I want to focus on with that is, when you set goals for yourself as a coach, you know how easy it is to give up on those goals, because as you're working harder and harder to achieve those goals and it's not happening, what does our natural instinct want to do? We want to quit. We want to give up. We want to say, okay, this isn't going to happen for me. Same with our physical transformation or our physical journeys. When you cheat one day, you fall off the wagon. The next day you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to eat this whole pizza again, because why not? I did yesterday. So I relate that to business, your business goals, and whatever they might be, that you really need to decide if you are going to make your non-negotiables no matter what. And I say that because I was very close to giving up, and thankfully, by the grace of God, I don't know how, but I didn't give up and went back up on that hill again. So again, I'm kind of got off, but that's where I ended up achieving SC10 legend. Was not easy, but it is doable. It's doable for anybody. If it was doable for me, it's doable for anyone. And I truly say that with all my heart and mean that. The other part of struggle with is that I struggled financially a few times this year. Again, because we are in an MLM, you're going to have those highs and lows and those dips and valleys. And that's tough, especially when you are doing it full time and that is your income. And so that's not one of the things that I was prepared for either. So I want to again relate for those of you that are in it, that these are things that are going to come up. It is just the way it is. The funny thing is, when I was at winter retreat, and a couple of coaches know this that stayed with me in the house, that I literally had $7.51 in my checking account when I attended winter retreat. And I shared that because I thought it was important for people to know that even if you are a 2-star, that it's not all roses and sunshine and bubbles and thousands of dollars. It doesn't always work that way. The odd thing was, or I should say the ironic thing was, is that Thursday of retreat, when I checked my back office, I received my highest paycheck in 2 years of a coach, and literally started crying. And it was Emily Burns, Janet Tripp, and I can't remember who else, it might have been Anne, that were in the living room with me, and I had to leave the room because I thought, wow, if there was not a sign for me, again, not to give up, coming in with $7.51 in my account, and then seeing that, sticking with it and powering through, that it will pay off. And hence it was my biggest check. So that I also wanted to talk about, which I touched on before when I was talking about SC10 and giving up on my non-negotiable. There was a point in time this May and June where I really questioned for the first time if this coaching thing is really for me. And it's funny because when I started out coaching and knew that it was my passion and that's what I wanted to do, and I call it you're in the honeymoon phase. So my first year was like I was all in love and everything's great and like that. And then the honeymoon phase gets over, and then you really got to get down and you're diving into your cold market and you're learning other forms of social media, and things become harder to achieve. And when and I just was laughing at that honeymoon referendum, because when I was at winter retreat, when I met with Arnold for corporate, I told him, I started crying and explained to him how I struggled this year. And we talked about it. And he said, Nicole, he goes, Nicole, the way he talks is really cute. You need to look at the fact that you're here now, that you overcame that and you're here now. That is more impressive than the fact that you walking across stage at Summit. And I thought, wow, you are so spot on. Because when I really, really wanted to give up because I questioned, is this right for me? Am I meant to do this? Am I meant to focus my energy into this, or is it something else? And I hung on, and I made it through. And so I thought, what a powerful statement. And it goes to show, we always say that your first year, you need to get through that first year as a coach. You have to give it a year, which we know many coaches don't. They give up before the year's end. And as you go on, it's important to know that no, it doesn't get easier, because nothing ever worth achieving comes easy. And so it's, if you are going to put on your pants and go for it, or if you're going to quit. And that was just interesting. I love the way Arnold explained that to me. A struggle that I had this year was balancing my summer. It was my first summer as a full-time coach. For those of you who have another job, a day job, we call it, this obviously doesn't pertain to you, but when I was able to leave my full-time job and work from home full-time, my goal was so I could be available for my girls. And that was my goal. And when all of these struggles were happening, I had to keep in mind that my number one why, my why, was to be able to do something that I love from home and be there for my kids. And no matter all those struggles, nothing was worth what I was getting from being able to be at home with my girls. And that's what I had to keep in mind, my why. Whether your why is to financially be out of debt, whether your why is to come be at home full-time with your children, you have to keep that in your forefront, in the front of you, and focus on that and keep that in mind. And I ended with the biggest success, which there's not a struggle for, which is I built and made some incredible relationships that I wouldn't change for the world. And I'm talking challengers, coaches, other people that I've met. We know that this is a relationship building business, and it is about connecting. And I really will say that at winter retreat, and Sarah knows this because she was one that came up to me and said, I just was looking so forward to meeting you. And I thought, really, what's so special about me? But I heard that from other people, and it only reaffirms that if I can continue being able to help those coaches or inspire coaches or challengers, again, that is why we do what we do. And those struggles are going to come, and you have to embrace the blessings and know and have, for me, I like the reaffirmation of knowing what I'm doing and where my journey is taking me is important to get those reaffirmations. So building those relationships and meeting people, attending the events and meeting other coaches has really been the highlight success of the year, of my 2 years as a coach. Okay, that's about enough with that. Okay, so what is that little squiggly line? That is not meant to be there. So don't look at that. So do's and don'ts. So when I was typing this out, I was thinking, oh boy, maybe are these coaches going to be thinking, okay, is she going to give us all these tips on challenge groups and more? I guess I was thinking more businessy. And as I was going through these do's and don'ts, these are what popped into my head that I thought would help if I had known this my second year as a coach. And you're going to see that it's not really business, business tips as far as challenge groups, social media, that type of things. I call it more of a personal development do's and don'ts. And again, if I put myself, if I was heading into my second year, and if I knew this, I would be mentally equipped better. So this is just for me, again, personally, that I thought would be able to help some coaches, whether you're in your first year, your first month, or 2 years of coaching. So do's: be vulnerable and reach out if you are struggling. And I say that because some of us, myself, tend to have the superwoman, superhero, I can do everything and anything, and I'm okay. And really, I'm not okay. And showing your vulnerability comes across as being real. And we, as social media being such a huge part of what we do as coaches, you will find, and I've heard this and I can speak from experience, when I post my vulnerable posts or videos, I get flooded 10 times more than if I don't. And there comes a point where you have to decide, what do you share, what don't you share, as far as putting it out there. And to each their own. Again, this is just my experience, because I tend to have the persona of I can do it all when I really can't. People are going to be more relatable to the person who struggles and who can't versus the one that they think has it all together. The other thing is, do what works for you. And then I said, if you are a square, don't try and fit into a circle. And I came up with that reference on my own, because we think that if Tammy is doing this, we should be doing that way. And we try it and we fail or succeed. And you're constantly kind of striving for what that other coach is doing. And there's nothing wrong with trying things. You should try things. You should try different things. But when you find what is working for you, you need to stick with that and tweak that, because when you are trying to do or be or incorporate a bunch of other coaches' things, you're going to get stressed out, and you'll never be able to hone in on what really works for you or what you're good at. So that's my take on that. Plug in daily. Do plug in daily. And again, whether it is your Power Hour, PD, podcast events, anything, you have to plug in daily. I can say, honestly, I think there was one day out of this year that I was not plugged in out of the whole entire year. And that was because I was deathly sick. But in some form of another, you need to stay plugged in. Because what happens when we're not plugged in, we lose that motivation. And it's kind of like the hamster on the wheel. You're going round and round. And what happens when you start to slow down and you get off that wheel, it's so much harder to get back up and get that wheel spinning again. And when you're disconnected from any other part of the dues, of the plug-in dues, it's that much harder to get reconnected. The same as with your healthy eating. When we eat junk food for a week and we try to go to healthy eating, how hard it is because you're away from it for so long. So do stay consistent with plugging in. Give yourself permission to fail and expect it. That is definitely a big do. And again, no matter where you are at with coaching, you need to allow yourself and permission and know that it's okay to fail and expect it. Because that, again, is the name of the game, and you're going to have that. I think that I personally still struggle, honestly, since we're being honest, about failure. No matter how much PD I read, it is just my personality again. I have gotten much better with it, and I have learned that it is not a direct reflection on you. It's just something that's going to happen, and what I've been able to turn that around is to focus on what I did not fail at versus what you failed at. So if you know, if you can have a mindset of, okay, I'm going to have failures, it just mentally will prepare you better to handle them versus going off the wall and going crazy about it. So the other thing that a lot of coaches know about me, and I did touch base on Winter Retreat, but prior to that, a lot of people know that I still struggle to this day, 2 years in as a coach. My husband and I, we have our issues with coaching, with the biz, that sort of thing. I talked to several girls at Winter Retreat, and I told them this, who were newer coaches. I said, one thing I would have done completely different when I started coaching was communicating better to my spouse about my intentions as far as coaching and as far as a business. I definitely would have handled that different. And the don't assume that they know what we're talking about or what we're doing. Don't assume that, because they do not know. When your spouse sees you on the phone all the time, granted, he thinks you're playing around or you're on Facebook, you need to say, I'm going to check in with this challenge group right now. This is this time of night where I need to do that and make sure everyone's on track, that sort of thing, versus not saying anything, which I'm completely guilty of, and just ignoring him there and going at it on my phone. So one thing I strongly suggest is communication with your significant other, and let him in or her in on the stressors that you face as you go along in coaching. It was easy for me to take my husband on this trip that we qualified for Cancun, but it's difficult for me to tell him that I did not hit my goals, or that, any other part of the business. It's difficult for me to share that with him. But if you can relate that, be open and honest with them and share, like I said, share the ups and downs with your significant other. Allow yourself to regroup and embrace it. So I say this because, again, my first year, and the don't is don't live, eat, and breathe coaching. So my first year, that's what I did, honestly. That's what I did. And that obviously showed as part of my business. I was 3-star qualifying. I had a goal of, I had everything in alignment. And it burned me out. It really did. So allowing yourself to regroup, and when I say regroup, I don't mean unplug and go off the grid for a week. Again, whatever your goals are, stay in alignment with that. But know that it's okay to not have to be on your computer or your phone 24 hours a day. It will literally burn you out, and you need to give yourself breaks, and you need to allow a certain time that you're going to devote, whether it's an hour a day, whether it's 7 hours a day. And if you're doing 7 hours a day, very important to allow that time in between, work an hour and a half and go do something else for an hour, that sort of thing. But know that you do not have to be on 24 hours, because you will get burned out. The last thing is be realistic with your goals personally and professionally. So we talk about, we all make goals, and especially with the new year coming up, that's all you hear about is goals, 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 and what we're going to do for 2016. And I think what I have learned is some people, and for me personally, this is how I am. Some people may think that setting your goals too high it's when you don't achieve it, it's harder to accept. And some people think that I'm going to, what is the term? I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to set my goal halfway. For instance, I'm going to set my goal of SC5 the whole year. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. Why would you not want to set your goal for SC10 each year? What scares you? What fear? What is holding you back from pushing yourself and aiming a little higher for your goal? So whether, it's personally, professionally, personally, getting physically to a certain size, in a certain amount of time, that type of thing, whether it is I'm going to sign 5 coaches every month. That's great. Again, if you have that goal. But remember, our goals need to be backed by action. And if you have a goal of adding 5 coaches to your team a month, if you tell me you're going to work, I plan on working an hour a day, getting my power hour in and so forth, that realistically will not happen. I can guarantee you that. So you have to have your actions be realistic with your goals. And the don't of that is do not let others influence or alter your vision. You have your own vision. That's what makes you you. And we talk about duplication all the time in this business. You can't duplicate your personality. You can't duplicate your values. You can duplicate the way someone runs a challenge group. That's great. That's what we talk about with duplication. But you can't duplicate you, and nor can you copy someone else. And it's important that you remain true to yourself and not allow, as easily as it can be in this business and as you go further along, to not get, quote, wrapped up in other people's visions or dreams, and stay focused on what it is that you want. And that's what's important, is what you want. So that is my last of the do's and don'ts. So I don't know where these squigglies came from. Okay, it's disturbing me. So the last thing I wanted to end with, and I was reading, so my personal development book today is The Female's Guide to Living a Ferocious, it's the one by Kara, The Female's Guide to Living a Ferociously Life. It's a pink sparkle guide thing. It's amazing. And I finished it up, and it talked about, going out there and trying things. And I was thinking about that all day today. And I thought, I was looking for quotes, and it was interesting because this quote from Oprah was one thing that stuck out. And do the one thing you think you cannot do and fail at it. Try again. Do better the second time. The only people who never tumble are those who never mount the high wire. This is your moment. Own it. That is so stinking powerful, because it's so true. Those people who never tumble have never gotten on the high wire. Those who don't try things never fail. And that's what's important, is trying those things. And whether you fail at it or not, you get back up and you keep moving forward and you keep trying. And you can put that in any part of your life, whether it's with coaching, whether it's something that you and your spouse want to accomplish by saving enough money for a vacation home, whether it's running a half marathon or anything like that. If you are passionate about it and you think you can't do it, you need to put your mind to it, and you need to do it. And if you fail, it's okay, but you need to get back up and try it again. So that is really my wrap up of my whole year, my second year into coaching. As far as the struggles and successes I've had, I persevered. You all can persevere. You all can push through. Every one of you have it in you. And know that everything that comes with that is okay. And look forward for the next day. And I guess that's it. Gosh, I talked a lot, I think. So let me exit out of here and bring everybody up. Okay, there we go. Great. So I did talk a lot. I hope everybody enjoyed that, and feel free to take yourself off mute if you have a thought or a question. Otherwise, we can totally wrap it up. Feel free to send me a message. If you have something that you feel uncomfortable sharing with everybody, send me a message. That's what I'm here for.
Hey, Nicole, can you hear me?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
It's Jen.
Oh, hi.
That was an awesome call. Thank you so much for sharing with us and giving that review and talking about the good parts and the not so good parts. I think it's all really important for us to hear from different people on our team and from different perspectives. What? Oh, can you guys hear me? I know it's loud. in the background. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Well, there was one thing that came to mind when you were talking about in the beginning, when you were talking about the income part and how sometimes like you think you're 2 stars, so that must mean you're like, rolling in the money. And it reminded me of something I learned in GoPro, in Eric Worre's book GoPro, and it's the 1-3-5-7 rule. And he says that the standard in network marketing is your first year, or within your first year, you should expect to make your investment back. Within your 3rd year, you should be earning your salary of what your regular day job is. In your 5th year, you should be a 6-figure earner. And then in your 7th year, you're basically like creating a long-lasting legacy for your family. And that's if you're doing your vital behaviors for whatever your business is every day. And that was something that really helped me in the beginning of my journey with income and comparing myself to other people and things like that, is just knowing that compared to a lot of other businesses and other things like that, I was really on track to what he was saying is the standard. And that really gave me a lot of comfort. And for anybody that is registered for Winter Summit 2016, that's actually who we're going to be going and hearing speak at the Recruiting Mastery. That's Eric Worre's thing. So I'm really excited to go and hear that. So there's still spots available if you are still on the on the edge of deciding if you're going to go or not. Just 11. Joe, only 11 spots. Oh, crap.
Wow.
Only 11 spots. So, anything else? Okay. Yep, that's all I had. So thank you so much, Nicole. That was an awesome call. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Michael. Okay. That was an excellent point that she made. And so, again, remember that you're going to have your ups and downs. However, consistency in now approaching, now that I can visualize, and I can see that it is coming. It's coming around. And that's why we say this business is not a get-rich scheme. It takes time, it takes building, and it will pay off if you stick with it. And like Jen said, of course, doing your vital behaviors and that sort of thing. And so, yes. Does anybody have any questions at all?
Nicole?
Yes.
Nicole, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I don't have my picture on, but it's Rachel.
Hi.
I just wanted to say great job. And I stayed up late for you because typically I'm in bed now.
Oh, thank you, honey.
I definitely wanted to listen to this call, and you did awesome, and you've inspired others, and everything that you do is so inspiring on this team and motivating. And I'm so sorry, guys, that I wasn't at Winter Summit with you, but this call was really amazing, and I just wanted to say great job.
Hey.
Hey, Rachel, how's your family doing?
Oh, hey. Good. Every day is, yeah. But good. Thank you for asking. We're hanging in there.
Well, thank you, Rachel. I'm
going to go to bed now.
Okay, you go to bed, honey. Thank you, Rachel.
You.
Appreciate that.
Hugs for you too. Okay.
See, guys,
Bye, guys.
This is why I love this family. This is why this team is what it is. Rachel staying up late to listen to what I had to say. That's, again, that's something you may not get. What other business do you do that touches you like that? And see, I knew I would have to maybe cry at some point along this evening, but Okay, I will end it here. It's late, so thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I'd be happy to personally chat with you, but it's late, so I hope that you all stick with it, because it is worth it. Through the ups and downs, it is completely worth it in more ways than one. So thank you guys very much.